Hello. Yeah, I was wondering if you were just like really locked in or if you hadn't noticed that. I was getting a cool feeling with it. So Roy said he's probably going to be in like right on 7th level, so don't freak out. Starts engine. Okay. Okay, no worries. Is it? What? The logistics of that are interesting to me. How big is this dog? Okay, let's see. That would be kind of funny. Oh no, there's contact. Creaky. How many do we have tonight? Looks like 30 odd. We well, we did chop off a leg from ACC, so I have to go somewhere. Yeah. That's good. Oh, hi Cam, glad we're hot micing. Are you sure? Hello, don't forget your push to talk. We're just running the intro now.
Hello, hello.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the season opener here at Octane Online Racing, presented by Thermaltake. We are here at the Red Bull Ring. It's the first race of the year. I'm very, very excited. My name is Blake Griffiths. I'm joined in the booth by Roy Ancan. Roy, how are you doing, mate?
Hi, Blake. I am well. How are you? Happy New Year to you and everyone listening in and watching.
Thank you. I'm well, thanks. As I said, very, very excited. I like this track. We've been away for a little bit here, but we're full steam ahead as we on board with Mike Crick. About a minute into qualifying, so we're going to see some fast laps coming through thick and fast in just a moment. But yeah, wow, the excitement is palpable, I must say, Roy.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. I think this is a great season opener. Interesting you said that you like this track. I'd be keen to get some feedback on what others think. It looks like a simple track, but in reality, it's really not. What are your thoughts?
I just think it's really interesting. I love that any track with elevation change to me is I don't know. It just brings something a little bit extra. It's a little bit Monza-esque in a way, with a lot, like, not that many corners. Allegedly 10, and it's a very, very soft 10 corners. But the corners are very, very important, as many of them have a little bit of a straight off the back of them. So you really need to maximize that exit in order to really find that lap time. So it's a tricky one. I think there's a couple of good places to overtake as well. As I said, if you can line up a nice exit, gets you alongside at the right time into the next corner potentially. So we'll see what these guys can do tonight. It is going to be 60 minutes of racing action, one pit stop required, and fuel is the thing that they'll be needing to take. It's a fixed time, 25 seconds. So the question always is, am I taking tyres for an extra 5 seconds, or am I going to try and take that advantage and keep track position? Happy New Year, chat. That just got wiped away. Fastest lap for Brian Kong thus far, 27.9. It's a pretty good one to get us going here. Brian Kong in a bit of a black and gold car. That one's not going to count. And it's just a smiley face to the team name. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. You just saw Brian just run there wide there on turn 1, and that's a bit of a tricky corner to get right, to be honest, because you really have to get your entry speed right to get that exit onto the straight. We might see a few invalidated laps here in qualifying, so it'll be interesting to see what people put down, but 27.9 is actually a really fast baseline, and I'll probably expect to see that time drop a little bit as they get the tyres up to temperature and kind of get dialed in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, that's a bit of a banker thus far. But yeah, it's quite a wonderful time. I'm pretty sure the temperature is quite favorable here. I think it's cruising around the 20-degree-ish mark. 22, 25 on the track. There you go. So relatively favorable to get a nice lap in. Got some good names here. Very healthy grid, about 33 cars, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So we're going to see some great action, particularly on a track as short as this one with a sub 1 minute 30 lap time. Looking at Wesley Yao right now, coming around the final corner, a little bit wide there. You can hop that curb. Not sure if you want to in the Porsche so much, but it is costing him a little bit of time. It's going to be 3/10 better, puts him in the top 5 for the time being.
Yeah, some really fast times starting to come up now. 27.99 is still the time to beat, but the spread between the top 5 is not that much, all within 3/10, so it's looking pretty competitive at this point.
Yeah, definitely. We did just see Wesley not quite getting that first corner right, getting familiar with that curb on the inside, so he's going to have to go again to find something fast. Jumping on board here with Raupi in the number 12 Mustang. It's about 1/10 up at the time being, so it's not too much of an improvement. As it goes through this last section, very, very tricky section. Here is where you need to be so careful for track limits, both the second to last corner and last corner on those exits. It's going to be pretty much the same as it was. Raupi's going to need to find a little bit of time if he wants to get a bit further up, closer to that podium for the start of this race.
And here we have our beloved Jayden Rondinella. Great to see him back in the McLaren, and I'm really hoping that he keeps it within track limits and And he avoids his pit lane incidents, let's just call it.
Yeah, he had a few of those towards the end of last year, didn't he? Bit of a chip on his shoulder. Did he just invalidate immediately? Surely not.
Yeah,
That would be a very quick curse from you, Roy.
Well, I hope he doesn't watch the replay, but yeah, he may have invalidated this lap.
I think interesting on Jaden, he's got a bit of unfinished business still with ACC. I know a lot of people are moving on to other games thus far, but a lot of people still enjoying it, obviously, with a very healthy grid here tonight and tomorrow night. Aaron Lee with the fastest lap at 1:27.9, so just pipped Brian Kong there. But Lupti saying that he wants to win a race before he hangs up the cleats for ACC, which is very fair, admirable goal. I think Lupti can shoot a little bit higher. I think he's definitely good enough to be contending for the championship over the course of this season, particularly with the talent that's around him in this grid. I think it's a very, very level playing field, so it'll be good to watch how this season plays out. And it's very wide from Josh Vediger. It's a little bit of landscaping, and that's going to cause that time to tumble down.
Yeah, I do love the livery though. The Coke Zero Ford Mustang there. That's amazing.
We've got Rob Underwood just asking, can we have a look at the track condition, please, Glenn? We've got Glenn on the cameras if you weren't familiar. We'll get that. No, your duos, he wants a sprint win, Liam. And also you carried him, so, you know. Track is optimum, to answer your question, Roy. Not Roy, sorry, Rob.
I wouldn't mind having a look at the full list that was just up there. We often end up talking about the guys in front, but let's have a look at who's sort of midfield and then rounding out the back. So still pretty competitive times, to be honest. I mean, all the way down to P15, we're talking about 0.8 of a second, which is actually not that much on a track like this. And then further down, from P20 onwards, we've got Ibrahim Bank, the young Ibrahim Bank. I actually did the endurance race with his dad at Silverstone, which was awesome. Great family all around. And then all the way down, we still have some people to put in some times. This is a very, very tight grid. I mean, if we are talking about people 1.2 seconds off in P26 and so on, I think that's pretty incredible. Just shows the quality of drivers that we have.
Yeah, definitely. You got these M drivers as well, only 1.6 seconds off the pace. Like, it's not a lot. So yeah, the talent is out in force tonight for sure. Did just want to shout out, we did have Jay McKellar. I'm not actually familiar with that name, but leading the Pro-Am charge just in that top 10 thus far, though not if Kafil Slade has anything to say about it. Oh, rocking the Lexus as well. So that is new to this season. We should say, I believe, I'm not sure the exact wording, but it was something along the lines of all current GT3 cars. So there is a few cheeky Lexuses in here. I think our own admin, Paul Kranich, rocking the Lexus as well. Not out on the track though, currently in the pits for the time being. So see if he decides to grace us on the track for qualifying, if he's just going to hang out for the time being.
Yeah, and maybe he just wants to take it easy and then see how the race progresses.
Yeah, nothing wrong. If you feel like you're not going to be that far up, starting from the back might not be too bad of an idea. Yeah, it's a can be a pretty spicy T1 up that hill to Niki Lauda curve. But for the time being, Stevie Ty in the Audi with a 1:27.7, and geez, that is getting pretty quick. It's about 1/10 better than what we saw Josh Vediger do. But we are sort of seeing the last couple of laps come through now. That is Appreciato, is it not? Is this? No, this is Vintner. Oh my god, I do this like every single time. Lovely livery on that Aston Martin. This is probably going to be his last lap though, so we'll see what he can do if he can get a little bit further up the grid. I think he'd be aiming for a little bit higher than what he is currently.
Yeah, is Vintner in a different car this season? I'm pretty sure it was in something else last season, right?
I want to say he was either in the Lamborghini or the Aston. I think he's been in few here and there, but it might have been his endurance car. So don't quote me on that. I'm sure someone like Cam Thistlethwaite will correct me, but that's very, very wide, and that's going to be lap done, unfortunately, unless he's going to try and soldier on, unless he knows he has time somewhere specific. Right now, it's about 10 seconds down. Sorry,
10th, yeah,
yes,
10th of a second down.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's really hard to, in the last sort of sector, it's really hard to make up a 10th. In fact, he's actually losing more time, so can't really see him going any faster. So 7th is probably what he might settle for, unless he's beat by someone else that's still on a flying lap behind him.
Yeah, it does.
It's just
Spicy pit entry. Yes, words are hard. That's why they pay me the big bucks here at Octane Online Racing. I got all that Thermaltake money, baby.
great effort by Miller though. Car 21, silver driver, mixing it up in 5th position amongst all the pros. That's quite good.
Yeah, love to see it. Love to see a little bit of a challenge towards the top. Stevie Tsai, one more lap, is improving. It's about 1/10 right now. That looked a little bit deep. It's a very tricky section, that mid-section of this track. Right now, leveled off. We'll see if there's any time to be gained. Gets it all the way out wide, throws it in. Delta does climb ever so slightly, but there's a big wiggle on the exit and a big slide through the exit of the final corner. So it's not going to happen for Stevie Tsai this time. Oh, and I guess everyone else gave up. There was about 2 more cars still trucking around, but it's not going to be it. Phil Slade in 13th. That's interesting. Maybe not enough practice, Slady.
Yeah, and if we probably look at the time difference there's probably not much in it. And as we were talking about, it is a finicky track, and little mistakes here and there can cost you tenths around the lap. But anyway, it's an hour-long race, and then the option of do you take tyres or not, I think that's really going to mix it up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very fair. If we do see the qualifying results, I reckon there would not be much in it. Like, you'd probably, if you were 2 tenths off, you probably lost like 5-6 positions easy. So that might have been what happened to Slady. But yes, as you said, the question is your pit stop. I think it's an interesting one. I do think it's not too difficult to get a move done around here. So it's not like track position is totally paramount to a good result. But if you feel like you're a good defender, you may opt for that track position, for grow tires. If you're in a car that's a little bit friendlier on its tires, you might opt not to. So we'll see how it plays out. But first grid walk of the season, and a new season brings new liveries. Anything catching your eye thus far, Roy?
Oh, that Castrol livery is quite lovely. Let's have a look at that. That's very nice. I quite like that.
It's quite nice. Yeah, I think we've seen a few Castrol liveries over time. But yeah, it's very, very clean. Isn't Castrol engine oil?
And liquid moly. That Porsche is very nice as well. Sort of looks like the Iron Dames Porsche and the current WEC spec.
I do like that super cheap Lexus. That's quite crisp. It looks very professional.
Yeah, I quite like how everyone puts in so much effort into the liveries. I think that's quite nice. Sure,
yes,
quite
much
what's
effort.
going on here.
Can we look to the right? There's actually a really, really nice Repsol GTR. Oh, that's a fun little graphic on that car. But yeah, that is crisp. It's like the classic. I'm gonna get this wrong, but like the Honda Superbikes or MotoGP.
Yeah, MotoGP. It's the Honda MotoGP. Yeah, sure, spot on.
So good, so nice. I got a Penrite Ferrari, Red Bull Porsche. I think that's Joe Spenceley's number 16 Porsche with the denim, with the Adidas stripes kind of thing. Got a skill issue. McLaren, that wouldn't be Loopty though. He's not all the way back there. That's a very fresh An Advil Honda, yeah, because that car's going to give you a big headache. You're going to be needing some.
Some really, really nice liveries. So kudos to all drivers for putting the effort in.
We do have Josh Holmes in chat giving his support to Loopty, but it gives me a good segue to bring up. If you're not familiar, next split is actually going to be iRacing. If you didn't see the thumbnail earlier, if you're just joining us, which is very exciting. We've got a few different things we're cooking up this year at Octane. As the landscape of sim races changed a little bit, we changed with it. But big shout out to Josh Holmes. You know, he's been putting that together, getting that organised. So it's a kind of his baby. So it'll be good to see something a little bit different. I think there's a very healthy grid over there as well, 30+ drivers. So not too sure about where they're racing off the top of my head, but it should be good viewing nonetheless. We're going to have Sean Muller and Zach Jensen as well. And I'm being told that it's at Bathurst, so it's a classic everyone's familiar with, I would hope.
Yeah, and I just want to echo that. I think what the staff have done in terms of the different series across the different sims is fantastic. And I myself want to do the LMU, but it's just a time constraint. But I'm just loving where this is going and hoping to do some different sim titles over the next few months.
Yeah, definitely. That is probably the only difficult thing, is it's hard to do it all, you know, because I think you're racing in red, aren't you? It's a bit of an ask to get from LMU to red. I know a few people do it, but it's a fair bit of racing for a Thursday night. But you know, we've got some soldiers.
All right, and I think we're coming on to the start-finish straight.
Well, one more corner, but we are double file. We are led away by Stephen Tai, I believe, Josh Vediger, P2, Lee 3, Kong 4th, Miller 5th, well ahead of his silver cohort, Jaden Rondinella in 6th, Vintner, Raupi, Yao, and K is your top 10. But we have been initialized and we will go green in just a moment. And there we are. And it's a good start there from Kafil Slade riding on board. There's shuffling here and there. Kafil moves all the way outside. Stephen Tai gets away just fine. Oh, there's a bit of bumping through the midfield there, but it looks like everyone's getting through just fine. Very, very wide from the last car. And
yeah, it looked like everyone got through quite clean.
I've lost pictures for a second. Roy, take it away.
Yeah, yep, okay. Everyone got through quite clean. Very, very good racing. I believe we still have the Audi that is in lead. Yep, Steve Tai, he's still in lead. He's just starting to pull away a little bit, which is quite surprising, followed by Lee and Vettiger. Yeah, I think everyone's just adjusting for positions now, as they should. Now we're watching the fight between Kong and Miller. Miller really throwing it up there. He's still in P5, but trying to capitalize on P4. Watching the Porsche of Kong. This is great racing. Watching the Ford on the inside here. I think he's going to hold that position. The McLaren behind him, trying to make the most of it. Oh, and he's throwing up the inside. That's a great move. Oh, a lot of action in the first lap, just trying to keep it clean. This is hard racing, it's tough racing, but it's great to see. We've got Looped in there as well, throwing it in. Everyone's just trying to get their noses in, just trying to get a little bit of an advantage, trying to get that position. As we come across, we finish the first lap. And we have Steve Tai, Lee, Vettiger, Kong, Miller, Rondinella still in P6, Rapi, Vintner, Yao, and Slade P10. I don't think we've gained or lost any positions in that top 10. Maybe a few positions here or there, but overall top 10 remains as is. And then looking down the list, it seems still pretty tight all the way down to P21. So this is some great racing, and I think I just to catch a breath.
Well, I'm all back up to speed. Monitor just decided the action was too much. It couldn't handle it. But yes, we go along for lap 2 on board with Mike Crick. Ben Winton right under the wing of Cricky in his old reliable GTR, still rocking that thing. It's old enough to drink at this point, but he loves it. Winton having a little bit of a sniff. He's a little bit wide there. for Winton. Falls off the back of Cricky for the time being, into the clutches potentially of King. Jumping back to the back of this pack, McKellar, and a little bit further back, Stockton. And who is that side by side? That's King, I believe. No, Price Davies. God, it's all happening too much. And it's, oh, who's that meme liveried car right on the sand? Stockton's looking to hold the inside here. He's going to have to defend the Red Bull Porsche looking up the inside. And that McLaren is so wide all over those marbles. And please rejoin safely. That was a little bit spicy. And that Ferrari did not like that curve. There's a little bit of contact here. The BMW has so much overspeed. And the McLaren is still suffering. A little bit of a wiggle. Oh my God. And they're going to be really tight together into turn one. The McLaren takes all of the curb on the outside. The BMW edges its way in front of the Ferrari, but it's not quite done here. It looks like, no, job done. BMW does get ahead for the time being. There's a little, it's just not over. The Porsche, I can't keep up with all this action. Spenceley, side by side with Lim, but manages to pull ahead out of turn technically 3. Can't believe that bend is a corner, but we've got Billet with a little bit of speed here. Sorry, Lim with a little bit of speed. Looks to get up the inside of Spenceley, but it's not quite happening just yet. And we've also got Billet in that beautiful Repsol GTR looking to get in on this action as well.
Yeah, I don't think any of these guys want to let up. They are fighting for every single position that they can. We're just 5 minutes into the race as well. And I think it will settle down a little bit, but where we do have these battles, it is actually helping the cars in front. And we'll soon start seeing some little groups break out. I'm pretty sure our leader, Kong, has sort of broken away. Oh, sorry, Ty has broken away a little bit. Oh no, Lee has pulled it back. That is fascinating. So Ty was almost clear a second not long ago. Maybe he made a mistake, I'm not too sure, but Lee has really closed him up, followed very closely by Vettiger in the Ford. I think 3 different manufacturers, Audi, Nissan and Ford, all with great top line speed, but different cornering characteristics, really mixing it up. And this is, I think, going to be a battle to watch, as well as potentially some battles midfield and towards the back of the field. It's all happening all throughout the grid.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're spot on that Stevie and Ty might have had a bit of an incident or a bit of a moment, because that sector just beforehand, there was about a second back to Vettiger, and he's right on the back of these guys. And we are looking at these two go side by side, and Vettiger definitely wants a piece of this action if there's any to be had. But Lee looks like he's going to get all the way ahead into this midfield section, and it's a little bit deep as well from Steve and Ty. Vettiger looking to pick up the scraps, see if he can get on the next step of that podium. But for now, Aaron Lee in control of this race. And we do have a yellow flag a little bit further back, the 404 car. Not quite sure who that is, but they are going to be sent all the way to the back of the grid.
Yeah, that was a great move by Lee all the way through that turn 5, 6, 7 sector, get on the inside and just hold the Audi out on the outside line. I'm not sure, I've never driven the Audi, but I don't know how it does on heavy fuel, so it was great in qualifying, but maybe he's just suffering a little bit under heavier fuel load and really trying to hang on there with the Nissan and the Ford not far behind.
Yeah, I think that turn 6 has a bit of an interesting camber situation. It's not really one that you want to be offline, so I think being off the line just made it even worse for Stephen Ty at that point. But he's going to look, I think there was something on there for Vettiger, but gets up on that inside curb and really stifles that exit. So he's going to have to fall back and craft up a new move if he wants to get past Stephen Ty.
Yeah, key traction zone, that turn there, which is surprisingly not turn 2, but turn 3, as I found out the other night when I looked up the track map.
Yeah, Raupi just getting absolutely mugged by, I think that's, Loopty, but Loopty now having to contend with Kafil Slade. Raupi, no, wait, don't worry. Let's just continue. Oh, there's a bit of argy-bargy, Rondinella. Jaden, that is not going to help. That is going to harm the tour for sure, and his potential winning efforts here. I think there might be a little bit of an invoice for the time being.
Yeah, we'll leave that to our stewards to deliberate on, but just kind of seeing that for the police second, Jaden did have the inside line, so he had right to that space on the track. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
A little bit messy there for Slade at the exit of the final corner. Do you know that corner is called Red Bull Mobile?
I didn't know that. No.
It's a little bit silly. It's not exactly easy to say in the middle of action, I would say.
The Red Bull Mobile corner, yeah, that's a mouthful. Yeah, we'll just use the number.
Yeah, fair. Number 10.
Yeah, a bit of a spotlight here on Ibrahim Bank. I believe this is his first sprint season, moving up from academy. Yeah, so racing as a red amateur driver and actually doing quite well, fighting the BMW of Price Davies here, and this looks like a really good battle. So I think he's going to learn a lot this season driving with some of the sprint drivers.
Yeah, definitely. And we have our first penalty of the season. George Zakanius, George, naughty boy with a jump start of the race. Never getting away with that. I do see George in 23rd right now. He's got the AM badge stuck to his name, but I think that might be wrong. I don't know why that happens with George so often, but he is a silver runner or pro-am, but usually silver. But yeah, Bank doing very well thus far. Nice liveried Porsche as well, but currently way ahead of the Anfield and about halfway up the grid, which is a solid effort of the first race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, there's no doubt that he's a very, very fast driver. I think, you know, he's going to learn a lot about racecraft and how you manage a race with drivers of a higher caliber in the Sprint Series over a long period of time. So it'll be really good to see him sort of progress this race and through the rest of the season. Oh, a bit of a move there on Price Davies by Stockton, potentially. Yeah, so the Ferrari sort of getting that position there on the inside of turn 1.
Yeah, just had that speed. I don't think Price Davies was fighting that one too hard, just lets him get by. Jumping back up the field, we're with Rondinella, Vintner behind, Raupi in front. Oh, whoa, that's a lot of speed that Raupi had over that McLaren. That was, yeah. That was a lot of speed and maybe a little bit too much speed. Miller trying to turn in for the corner. Raupi is still going ahead, so we'll see what comes from that. Kavil Slade, 10-second penalty for causing collision on lap 1, so that was not what we saw with Rondinella. That was earlier in the race, so Stewart's still going through the sort of start of the race. There's a lot of action happening, so we'll see how long it takes them to catch back up. But yeah, that was an interesting one from Raupi. I think maybe missed that braking marker and really came in with a head of steam into that corner.
Yeah, that didn't look great, but you know, in the heat of the moment, these things happen, and you know, if you've got a penalty, you just wear it and try and manage the rest of your race. I think when you're up the field, like Slade, you get a 10-second penalty. That question around tyres really, I think, comes into play. So if he wants a competitive position from here, does he take tyres or not? If he does, that's 15 seconds straight away.
Yeah. We've got Cam Thistleweight in the chat saying Rip Loopty been assassinated by the iRacing launcher, and I don't actually see Loopty anymore, or Jaden Rondinella. Is he literally gone?
Well, he was in P7, and he's not in P7 anymore, and I can't see him all the way down to P23, so...
That's very classic Loopty. Wow!
Oh, another incident there with Kay and Raupi. Raupi is really not having a good time, is he?
Well, it's interesting. That Porsche bounced off that Ford like it was nothing.
So ACC
just
physics.
fly swatting. But I mean, it was a rear-end collision, so just getting confirmation that Loopty did DC. So this is really going to harm the tour. Sorry, Loopty, you've got to do another race at least. Not winning this one, I don't think. Liam K copying a 10-second penalty for a lap 1 collision, so that's insult to injury. I believe that was Liam K we saw go up the back of Raupi, was it not?
Yeah, I believe it was. Maybe another one coming then. Let's see.
Yeah, too many Porsches. But
yeah.
Looking back up the grid, we've got Aaron Lee has actually cleared Vediger for the time being, and Stephen Tai. Stephen Tai is still relatively close to the back of Vediger, but a relatively comfortable lead, 1.3 seconds, about 15 minutes into this race. Looking a bit further back, the fight for P5 is on. Phil Slade with a lot of speed against Miller, and Vintner definitely wants to get in on this action. Slade carrying that 10-second penalty though, so he's going to need to really put in some work if he wants to keep these positions that he is fighting for. Miller defensive down the inside. They are door to door as they go around turn 4. Slady looks for the up and under down, and he's going to move to the inside here, and he is alongside but has to just put on the anchors a little bit, but it's quite deep from Miller, and Slady tucks back in, but Vintner looking like he's really got a lot of pace, just taking the regular racing line. Miller still on the defensive here. Slade just all over the back of him. A lot of speed, and he has to check up. Oh, and I think that's just cost him the potential move into T9 for the time being. Slade just obviously has a lot of pace here on Miller, but isn't able to get anything done. It's very missing the apex there from Miller. I think he's all scrambled right now. Slade with a lot of pace here. I think he's going to have enough to get alongside for T1, but I think he's checked up a little bit again. Slady is, and Vintner getting checked up now as well. Miller just doing just enough to hold on to this P5 position for the time being.
Yeah, great defensive driving there by Miller. I mean, in that last sector, he's really using the strengths of the McLaren because you can optimize the aero and the corner speed probably a little bit better than the Aston, but then the Aston coming back in sectors 1 and 2. Really interesting that Vintner is just hanging on like a shark in the back there, you know, just watching for a mistake or an incident between the two so he can capitalize. This is really fascinating to watch. And then behind them, we've got Raupi and Mike Crick. Yeah, he's doing fantastic up into P10. Top Pro-Am driver as well, so this is a nice little group to keep our eye on for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I will mild gentle correction. Cricky definitely is P10, but that is Yao behind Raupi in that Porsche.
Oh yes, thank you.
Raupi just got ahead into T3. I think we saw an incident or two with Raupi, so he's just sort of working his way back up. Clearly has quite a bit of pace though, so that battle P5 through P8 is definitely spicy. I think Vintner just keeping his head cool and like waiting for the moment to strike. Luke asking if we can restart. No, come back next week, Luke, and win the next race. Glenn's asking what happened to Luke. He disconnected because the iRacing launcher started, and we do see Slady get on the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of nose to tail action, and it's really stifled both of them. Miller though hanging on, but Slady losing out big time. That's 2 positions. We are looking at Vintner.
He's capitalized on it for sure, and Raupi throwing it in the mix as well, and Slade has actually lost a couple of positions out of that. Oh, and Vintner just getting up on Miller there on the inside, so I think he should be able to hold it from here, but still a lot of pressure for all of these cars.
Yeah, Vintner just being patient there, but it's a nice dive to the inside there for Vintner, but he's not having it, and there's a bit of contact and then even more contact. Slady and Raupi coming together there. Vintner holding on for the moment, but Miller with a nice switch back into the braking zone, but it's a bit wide and there's a bit of a argy-bargy. Vintner losing out big time back to the back of this pack. That's P9. He's going to have to work all the way back up for it, but I think Miller's definitely going to get a little bit of an invoice here. Slots back in front of Wesley Yao for the time being. Wesley, I think, just checking up and saying, I'm not sure I want in on this argy-bargy party.
Yeah, definitely a bit of elbows out racing. I mean, it's again up to the race director, but for me, it's just hard racing, bit of paint trading and going side by side. It's all kosher from my point of view, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's look, I've said 1 or 2 things. We'll have to see what the stewards actually say. It's difficult without all the angles. Slady on the exit ramp there. I do think we're going to see this Mustang do some Mustang things to this McLaren. Miller's taking the defensive, looking at the inside, but I think it's going to be done before they even get there, unless the McLaren can get really late on the brakes, but not quite. McLaren's brakes not known for being awesome. Ibrahim banked 10-second penalty for collision on lap 1, so we're still working through lap 1. A lot of stuff going on. Still to come. We're about 20 minutes in.
Yeah, and we'll probably see some more. I mean, Miller doing a pretty good job of trying to hold off these cars, but you're right. I drive the McLaren and it's not amazing on the brakes, and you've got to brake 5-10 meters before any other car pretty much, so a bit of a disadvantage. But this is where Miller's strong, so if he can just hang on in the McLaren through these corners, he should be able to capitalize in the next sector. But seems like so Raupi, yeah, he's perhaps starting to break away just a little bit now.
Yeah, I think seeing Raupi and Slade get ahead of Miller for the time being, Miller doing an admirable job, but a little bit of a cork in the bottle, I think. We'll probably see Raupi and Slade get up the road relatively quickly. We are looking at Vintner as well, trying to get past the great wall of Miller. Wesley Yao still in on this action too. But we'll see if Vintner can get it done. I think it's been scrappy racing thus far. Wow, very close from Wesley Yao. I will say a car known for its braking is the Porsche, so it's a bit easy to do. You can brake a little bit later if you're not ready for it. You might be tasting a little bit of the rear bumper of the car ahead of you.
Yeah, absolutely. They're sort of starting to settle in a little bit. Still a lot of pressure on that bit. And I think it seems like he's a very patient driver. Like he'll just watch, observe, try and find some weaknesses and a chink in the armor, and then try and go for it. So let's see how this plays out. And yeah, I think he's trying to capitalize. He's waiting there and saying, make a mistake, run wide, do something, and I'm here to take that position if that happens.
Yeah, definitely. I think Yao being patient, I think it's payoff for him. I'm not sure if he has the exact pace to get by Miller per se, but I think he's waiting for the opportunity to potentially come. I know Vintner, Matt Madden always calls him Mr. Smooth. Very nice on the inputs, very gentle with it. So I think he's a very calculated driver. I think he'll just wait for just the right moment. We saw him, show the nose here and there, show himself in the mirrors just to try and force a mistake. I think he's going to make the right move, hopefully, and hopefully we haven't jinxed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, first time for me sort of commentating and watching the race from this perspective, you can really tell the personalities perhaps of the drivers. And as we were talking about Vintner, he's trying to be smooth, he's waiting, he's assessing, he's calculating, but he's not just throwing his car in, and just hoping for the best. Like right now, he made a move, he made another move, he's on the inside trying to get into Miller's head, and he's probably going to make this stick. Yeah, that's a lovely move, just to block past, park it on the apex. Use the grunt of that Aston, that twin turbo V8. I'm pretty sure it's a twin turbo V8, and get that car out. So he's got the upper hand here for sure.
Yeah, it's not the best out of the slow corner, but I think that positioning is going to be enough to get by Miller in the end. Oh, there's a little bit of a touch there. Miller's going to look. He's going to do a bit of a switchback, but it is going to turn into the outside. Vintner holding the inside. They are door to door as we go through this midfield section. Oh, and there's a little bit of bumping. It's a little bit ACC physics though, and Wesley Yao actually capitalizing on that, slotting himself just in front of Miller, so gets one for free. We'll see if the stewards have anything to say about that. We do see Kafil Slade with a drive through, I presume, for track limits. That is a little bit rough. That's our first victim. It's pretty easy to do around here at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. He's been using too much of the real estate on T1, and now he's paying for it with a drive-through. Now, I was actually going to bring it up. The drive-through thing here is actually quite prevalent because it's not a lot like T1 and some of the other turns to clip that track, especially because to make the most of the lap time, you got to get on the curbs, as you know, Blake.
Yeah, definitely. Slade is one, I think, who does really maximize the track. Oh, a bit of a move here. King looking to the inside of Miller. We'll see if that one sticks or not. And it does look like it's stuck. I think Miller just a little bit shaken from all of that action. There's a lot of arging and barging and elbows and hips and shoulders. So he's just going to have to collect himself here, not to tumble too far down the grid. Still in the top 10 for the time being. But now third in that silver throwdown. Mike Crick onto the back of this pack too. But yeah, this track, you watch these guys, they throw it all the way out onto the curb, and it's a relatively narrow track, truthfully, as well. And some of these corners, yeah, you're really on a fine line between track limits and not, so it's not surprising we're seeing some. But Miller taking the fight back to King. They are going to be door-to-door. Miller, though, with the inside line into the second to last corner. It's a difficult place to go side by side. Miller does it really nicely, though. I think King checked up just a little bit, didn't carry too much speed into that second to last corner, and Miller back up into P9.
Yeah, good racing by Miller there. And we were talking about Vintner as a smooth, calculating driver, and you can see Miller, his body language is super aggressive. As soon as, you know, someone's behind him, he's got elbows out, he's behind someone, he wants to make the move in the next couple of corners. So really interesting to see the different driving styles and the psyche of the drivers.
Yeah, it's a fun part of being up here in the booth. You get to see the action from a little bit of a different perspective. Glenn, obviously, you thought that was really important to show us. I think that's Daryl Lim's car. Glenn saying it's the first pit, which is very fair, but he loves to show me these cars at times, the ones I think he thinks that I like them very, very much. But that is our first pit at 25 minutes in, so slightly early. Well, it is and it isn't. It doesn't really matter in a race like this, but first the fields.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, the strategy comes into place here, I suppose. If you take a late pit and tyres, and then you got low fuel, I mean, you can do some damage with that setup. Whereas if you pit early and take tyres, is it really going to give you that much? Probably not that much, because you still got to run 37 minutes. So yeah, Daryl Lim, where was he running? Do we know? He was probably, midfield, potentially? Yeah.
I think so. We haven't seen too much of him, so he's probably was behind this pack that we've been following along. I'd like to say somewhere near Spenceley there. But yeah, I think it's interesting though. You might pit to try and just put yourself into a bit of a gap, but obviously 33 cars in this track with a short lap time, there's not too much space to be found. But, I mean, one of the major things is if you find yourself behind someone that you think you're faster than, but struggling, as we've sort of watched with, like, Vintner and Raupi behind Miller, you might pit just to get away from that and try and get that undercut on them. We do see King, though, with a fair bit of speed. Miller on the defensive again, going to have the inside line. We might see King look for the switchback underneath. Norisan with a 15-second penalty for causing collision on lap 5. But for now, King just holds back, does tuck it back underneath, and that's a big wall of red from 16 onwards. We've got a fair few penalties piling up.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Glenn, if we can just cycle through the Pro-Am field, seems like there's some tight battles happening there. Just looking at the deltas between the cars, and then all the way down to some of the top AMs as well.
Yeah, there's battles to be had everywhere. You don't have to look very hard. Cricky leading the charge for Pro-Am right now. Just at the tail end of that battle, we were seeing McKellar in P2 for the Pro-Ams in that super cheap Lexus. Winton running along pretty nicely with Stockton just behind, just outside the podium positions for the Pro-Am cars. John Stockton, their Penrite Fire and Ice Racing. Spenceley a little bit further back from these guys, but having a nice little time on his own.
I love that livery.
Yeah, it's
I
great
love that livery. Yeah, that's a great little livery. And Joe Spenceley and I did duos at Donington. He was kind enough to invite me to race in the Porsche with him. And yeah, that was a nice bit of fun and a really nice go overall.
Yeah. Runs Jaden insult to injury, that penalty coming through for that collision on lap 5. So stewards are not viewing that one favourably. Harry Potato Heart. Harry in the chat is asking, what did Slady do? He got a drive-through, and I believe he had a 10-second penalty for an incident earlier that I don't quite recall. Looking a little bit further back, so Nur Asan is ahead with that 15-second penalty of Wilk Apreciato. I think Wilk was running the Aston last season in the Mustang, but with that nice Valvoline livery. I know Sean Muller is a big fan of this one. We do see that Slade there. It hasn't quite up to date yet, but Slade not opting to serve that 10-second penalty, but has served that drive-through. So he's going to have to work his way back up here. Actually, why does Slade... Oh, sorry, he didn't stop. He's just drive-through. That's how drive-throughs work. Yeah. I'm a little rusty, guys. Just bear with me here. But Slady, having a look, I think he's going to have a bit of speed here. He's going to actually go. He's going to hold it for the time being. Maybe maximize that exit. He's going to have a tough time getting past this Mustang, but it is a really, really great exit there for Slady. I think he's going to be just fine as they head up to T2 and 3.
Yeah, you'd expect to see, and you know, we've got some amazing prime drivers here, but I expect to see him kind of carve through the next few cars pretty quickly, being a pretty quick pro driver, I imagine.
Definitely. Oh, it's such an interesting phenomenon. You're a pro-am in Octane, and you're pretty damn good at this game. But some of the people we have here are just on another level. We don't even have our Keeses or Bakitas in this race either. So they're, you know, the real creme de la creme aren't in attendance for the time being. We do have a few people coming in for their pits for the moment. That's an interesting line there for Cricky. What's going on, Cricky? That doesn't look very good, Cricky. He's pulling into the pits, hopefully just regular style, but that was a little bit awkward.
Yeah, probably just enjoying the scenery before he takes a quick pit stop.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe looking at it now, I will confess. Take my confession, please, Roy. I haven't practiced the pit entry here, but looking at that, I do remember that it's a little bit awkward because it is kind of, the entrance is just after that corner, the second to last corner, so it's kind of on the racing line, which makes it a little bit spicy. So maybe Cricky just a little bit nervous on the entry with the cars following behind.
Well, I know for sure that when it's raining and you get turn 10 or the entry into turn 10 wrong, you can pretty much take a pit stop from there as you're sliding into the pits.
Yeah. For now, Lee still in the lead of this race. Stephen Tyre fallen off a little bit further. Brian Kong rounding out your podium for the time being. Is that how it always was, or have we seen? No, Vedic. So Vedic has pitted already, the first of our podium drivers at the top of the field. So we'll see if that undercut does make sense. Jaden not happy with the penalty that he's got in the YouTube chat. Honestly, you know the protest protocol. Luke, to get on that. You had to wait, I think, a day though. So, you know.
Do you know? I'm with Loop T. I did say he had rights to that part of the track. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember it exactly, but I feel like, did he not wash wide slightly? I don't really remember. I think it was yeah, it is fine.
Why aren't you in the chat? Aren't you driving? No.
Liam, you did miss a little bit while you were gone, but yeah, it's been an interesting one for Luke D, that's for sure. So Nate James rocking the skill issue livery. I'm not sure if he's affiliated, but yeah, fair, Luke D. But yeah, unfortunately, Luke D, you are the target of my slander on the regular, so I'm never going to take your side. Sorry, mate.
So a few cars starting to pit now, about halfway into the race. I'm just interested to know if they're taking tyres or not. It's really hard to tell. I think it's quite impossible to tell unless you time them, right? Yeah,
you have to be kind of paying attention, or if one of the some of our peeps in YouTube are watching their streams, can report on us a little bit of pit side reporting. Because you kind of usually have to kind of compare it to like the people around them. Where they're coming out, but there's so many people taking pit stops at different times, it can be really hard to follow. So there we go, Jack Miller with a 10-second penalty for a collision on lap 11. We did see quite a few incidents between Jack and that group of cars that were around him, so I'm not sure exactly which one that one was for, but I am not surprised that there has been a little bit of a reprimand. Speaking of a reprimand, I did just see Nate James with a stop go 30, I presume for speeding into the pits, so that is a little bit of a skill issue. You are asking for it with that livery.
Yeah, that he'd be quite cut up because I'm pretty sure he took a pit not long ago, and now he's got to do another stop go 30, and that's going to hurt his race for sure.
It's suboptimal, you might say.
I think we're entering that phase of the race where things start to spread out just a little bit, and now it's really a mental test. Keep the car on the track, try and chase down the car in front of you, don't make mistakes, try and get a strong finish. I think sort of looking across the field, yeah, we're sort of starting to see the spread off second plus. Not sure if there's any battles going on. Maybe it might bunch up a little bit later on.
Yeah, I think we'll see as the pit stops sort of flatten out, people come out, back into their action. Well, big cut there for Slade. It'll start to close back up. I mean, if we keep on board with Slade, I'm sure we'll see him catch up to a few different cars. But most of the field has come in. I do have Eaton in that Advil Honda. Just the pits now. We've got John Rad still to pit, so he's going to tumble a bit the way down. I do think some of our leaders are still putting along for the time being. Nate James serving that penalty as well. A little bit of rough going on the first race. We've had our share of woes, particularly Jaden Rondanella copping quite a few of them, unfortunately. It's not been the ideal start to his campaign for a Sprint Series win.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll brush it off and then come back strong.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I mean, as I said, I do have faith that Luke T. I said it at the start of the top of the broadcast. I think he's good enough to be challenging for the overall championship win. He's making me look foolish thus far, but I do believe that. We do have our leaders coming in. So Aaron Lee with Stephen Tai in tow, back to back into the pits. We are keeping an eye on Vettiger, I believe, who was in P3. We'll see where he comes out. Vettiger, the 999 car. Get your binoculars out. We're doing a little bit of car spotting for the time being. I want to say, so he's behind 277. Where are we, Roy? Oh, don't worry, Glenn's all over it for me. Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, so we're looking at Steve Tai here. I think he followed Lee into the pits. I think he was in a bit of a good position just to see what the leader was doing and just, essentially copy-paste the strategy, which is always a good thing to do. You don't want to do an extra lap and then, all of a sudden they've undercut you by another, few seconds or something like that. So, yeah, good move by him.
Oh, that was really interesting for a second. I was wondering if there was a choice of tyres and not between the top two cars, but it does not look like that has eventuated. And I tried to build this up a little bit for a little bit of intrigue, but Vettiger well behind both Lee and Tai. So that's not really come to fruition. So Lee holding a provisional lead of this race, Tai still in P2 as well. Does look like Vettiger, though, has regained that P3 position on the track after that early pit stop, but that strategy hasn't amounted to too much thus far.
Yeah, and I was really intrigued to see if Tai would take tyres or not. I mean, I think he went into the pits almost 4 seconds behind Lee, and part of me was kind of thinking, well, he's got nothing to lose. Is he going to make the 3.5 seconds? Not sure. But if he took tyres, would he have a better chance of doing that? Even though he might be 8 seconds down at that point.
Yeah, I didn't quite see what their gap was coming in, but that is one of those times where you might consider not taking tyres and see if you can hold on, do some vigorous defending, just to jump them in the pits. But it's a very, very difficult thing to do, particularly when you're against another driver of considerable skill. We do just have some of the last of our drivers in the pits. We're looking at Kong for the time being, just dropped and on the way. Vintner is in. Glenn telling me that Kong, it's going to be very close between these two, Kong and Vettiger for P3, so Vettiger might have lost out actually, and yeah, when I say very close, I mean it's not that close at all.
Yeah.
Come on, Glenn. I had to draw up the excitement. It's not like it's not at all close. What's that, like a second and a bit? And look, Vettiger's got the warm tires. It's not done yet. Vettiger, make me look not stupid, please. No, that's maybe a little bit more than a second, isn't it?
I think Vettiger's going to be on a mission now, you know? I think, especially when you lose out on a position on a pit stop, you want to get that car in front.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's not going to hang up the cleats and say job done. Definitely not. But it's going to be tough going. Brian Kong, actually, probably one of our biggest movers and shakers in terms of improvement over time. I think we did see Brian in silver either this last season or the season before, up into pro now. So really, really solid effort, consistent, solid improvement from Brian. Doing well thus far. It's P3 currently as it stands. We do have a third of the race to go though. I did also just want to point out John Stockton with a stop go 30, presumably for a pit entry mishap. So that's a little bit rough. We've had 2 of those tonight. But Luke Johnson in chat just excited about the top 3 because I believe they're all compatriots of his with the Rockets Evolved guys, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, my bad. But yeah, it's good to see those guys up at the top. Load bearing provisionally, Luke. I hope you haven't cursed them from the chat. Yes, I don't know what it is as well, Luke, with George, but he's consistently seems to find himself in AM despite being a silver driver. Running it real late for this pit stop though. Miller as well. We saw a lot of action with Miller carrying that 10-second penalty from said action. We'll see where they come out, but yeah, playing the long game for the moment.
Yeah, and perhaps he's just trying to stay on track, open track for as long as possible to try and mitigate as much of that 10 seconds he can, but either way, 10 seconds is a significant penalty which he will serve when he takes that pit. So not going to help him overall. He did have a really strong start to the race and some really fantastic racing. Wasn't quite sure. Ooh, something happening here?
Yeah, would you look at that? Vettiger are real close to Kong, and they're actually going to be door-to-door coming up to T1, and that's so much speed. He's actually ahead at the apex. So Vettiger getting that move done, and he's making me look really smart.
Yeah, he had a lot of intent there. I do wonder if Kong made a mistake though, because he was a couple of seconds ahead, and within a lap, Vettiger kind of closed him up and passed him. So maybe a bit of a mistake by Kong that we missed.
Yeah, I wonder if that exit in the final corner wasn't that great for Kong, because it was a lot of speeds. You know, the Mustang obviously renowned for its top speed, but the pit straight isn't actually like super long here at the Red Bull Ring. So I think there might have been a slight helping hand in that regard. But yes, Vettiger, for the time being, retains that, or regains that third step of the podium. We'll see if Kong takes that one lying down, or if he can mount a counter-attack here on the Coke Zero Mustang.
Yeah, that Mustang has some strong legs. Is that car bopped with the, what's it called, the restrictor for this track?
I actually want to say that this is one of the tracks that it's not restricted on, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I will say, from memory, someone in chat, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not the biggest Mustang aficionado, but the restrictor mostly hampers its top-end speeds, if I'm not mistaken. So, no restrictor. God, I'm good. This is why they pay me the big bucks. This is why I get that Thermaltake money. I don't get any money from Thermaltake, just to be clear. That's 100% a joke. But, you know, you're not really getting all the way up, you know, to that 280 k's an hour around here at the Red Bull Ring, I don't think so. It's understandable that it doesn't have that restrictor.
Fair enough. Looking down the field, from a prime drivers, Spenceley, McKellar, and Winton, I think they're quite tight. Just looking at the timing sheet, yeah, a bit of a battle going on here. Look at that. 3 cars in. So who do we have here? We've got Winton, yeah, in the white Porsche, followed by Spenceley, and then McKellar in the Lexus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the Lexus. Yeah, this is the super cheap auto Lexus. Tight little battle, and I think they are. Yeah, they'll be going all out. I think 18 minutes left, and it's all about who can get ahead.
Yeah, so McKellar just outside the podium right now for Pro-Am, so he's got a lot to gain here. Can feel Slade with a 15-second penalty for a lap, collision on lap 25. I don't think we saw that, but it's likely from something that was, as he was fighting his way back up through the field, that is not going to be particularly helpful. These guys are relatively close for the time being, but it's looking relatively civil at this point.
Yeah, I think they're just being very civil and probably just biding their time. I'd really love to see them just get into it, have a bit of Jack Miller in you.
Yeah, as commentators, I want them to go crazy, throw it in there. I need stuff to talk about, but I think they'll, keep it relatively tame. I feel like Spencer's a pretty keeps his head on his shoulders, pointed the right way, so he's not going to do anything too stupid. Part of the Porsche guy's outfit, I'm assuming, because he has that Porsche guy's logo. Better pit straight run there for Spencer. So we'll see, but it is similar machinery, 2 Porsches going at it. I will say as well, the Lexus a little bit hampered here. That is one of the absolute weapons in a straight line, better than even the GTR, so not quite getting all of its legs all the way stretched. Looking back, this is that would be that penalty we did see for Slady here. I do think that is the other Vedica, and a bit of a bump, too much speed. Yes, Ashley Vedica, my mistake. And yeah, you can see why that penalty came through. Yeah.
Is it fair to assume they are related, the 2 Vedicas?
I'd say so, yeah. I'd say it's pretty fair.
Yeah,
I have made that mistake once before, though.
But which is why I asked, right? You never know.
Josh Holmes and Samwise Holmes, not related. I think it was Glory Babby or Michael Babb, I get them confused, led me so far astray. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Michael Babb, nice man all around. He did my first ACAD Enduro with me last season. Showed me the ropes a little bit, again in the Porsche. I've driven the Porsche a fair bit, now that we're looking at a couple of Porsches. Yet it's not a car that I've ever settled on for a sprint, but it's a car that I do enjoy driving when I get the chance to do so. The one-off invites to other teams and so on.
Geez, look at you, Mr. Popular, with invites to other teams.
Oh, mate, I just hang around, I think people just have sympathy and ask me to come and play with them.
You a big doughy-eyed dog on the side of the road. Nah, that's great though. But it's an interesting car. I've actually picked it up this season, which is going to be interesting. But I felt like the track list for this season suited it pretty well. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Maybe Breno in chat can impart some wisdom. I know he's a Porsche enjoyer. But for the time being, these guys are really just holding it straight. It does look like they're catching up to Winton, though, and Miller just a little bit further up the road, too. So we'll see what happens with these guys. Do get a 5-second penalty, though, for McKellar, unfortunately, so that is going to hurt the tour.
Yeah, a minor penalty there, and it will hurt him. I think he's taken a pit stop, yes. They'll just get added to his race time. The car behind him, 3.3 seconds. So yeah, he's got to do some work to not lose a position there.
Yeah, just realizing though that is, I think, a lapped car. We haven't seen too much of it, and it does look like it's relatively staying out of the way.
It is, but I think it messed Joe up a little bit because McKellar has just caught up a fair bit onto the back of that Porsche. Big speed difference there. I don't know if you saw that between Spencer and McKellar. Like that Porsche pulled out a fair bit into and out of turn 1.
Yeah, I think as well, Spencer, though, actually really lost out to Winton. Really fell off the back there. Through that blue flag, but that is Winton on the side of the road. That looks like a little bit of tech issues potentially for Winton, which is a little bit sad because that was going well for him. And that's back to pits. That is a little bit rough. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, a race done for him. Commentators curse, unfortunately. We've been talking about them a fair bit. But yeah, unfortunate to see.
That's rough. It's been a little bit atrocious here at the Red Bull Ring thus far. First loop-de, Ben Winton. I know Slady's had a few incidents, and I think a little bit of rust here and there. We've seen quite a few penalties. The track does invite a fair bit of action, so stewards have had their work cut out for them. Breno's saying Porsche best for all calendars. I don't think that's entirely true, but it's a great car.
When Breno's driving it, yes, it is. Some of us not nearly as close as Breno. Probably not so much.
Just looking here though, this is heating up a little bit. Steven Tai and Vedica. Vedica just half a second, and I would dare say that's not really half a second. We do have a blue flag car in between them at the moment, so boy, that was a little bit spicy from the old blue flag car. We'll see if Vedica can, do something here with this blue flag situation, but I will say they don't seem to be particularly keen on getting out of the way. There they go. It did pull off just there, so just not... No, we didn't see all of that sort of sequence, but for the time being, it does look like Vedica's really in form as we come to the final part of this race. Just over 10 minutes left.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Vedica took tyres, but he is looking rapid. The amount of time he's picked up and the pace that he's got at this phase of the race, I do wonder whether he took some tyres, and if he didn't, then he's looked after his tyres quite well, so that's serving him quite nicely.
Yeah, I want to say that I think most people have taken tyres. We didn't really see too many jumps. Happy to stand corrected here, but looking at Steven Tai, though, his position on the track, you see that white blob in the distance. That's Lee. Steven Tai wasn't too far off the back of Lee after the pit stops, and he's just fallen off here. So the Audi fatigue is a little real. So I think this one, the ball is really in Vedica's court. We'll see if he can get something done, or if Steven Tai can keep this Audi nice and wide for the final 10 minutes here.
He's right up under his wing there. He is, you can just tell his body language there with Vedica. He wants to make that move, and he wants to get that move done as quickly as he can. Perhaps not a lot of opportunity here, but he's going to try and line him off at turn 1 for sure. So let's keep watching this sequence. This is a great angle, by the way.
Yeah, lovely angle. A little bit defensive there from Steven Tai. Vedica, though, takes a relatively normal line. It does invite him side by side in the last corner, and Vedica just sneaks it through. We'll see if the exit is good enough to hold on into T1 down the pit straight. But that was a lovely piece of work there.
Yeah, that is so skillful. And we were talking about here some of the top guys, and he gets the move done into turn 10, which takes a lot of skill, because you get that turn wrong and you hit that turtle curve, you are dying for sure. So well done to him. That was great.
Yeah, definitely. I love that, actually. That was just really nice. Steven went on the defensive there, and Vedica just sizing him up just right. Takes the outside line, swings it down the inside to have that inside line for the final corner, and does just enough. Uses the grunt of that Mustang to just keep ahead. Vedica P2. Great move.
Great move, and I can't stress the skill enough. I mean, one of the things I realized coming into sprints, when you race with faster drivers, the window of opportunity to get a move done is narrower, and you don't get a lot of time, and you don't get a lot of thinking time to do it. So to do it at their pace in that corner, I can't stress enough how good of a move that is.
Yeah, definitely. That set of corners as well is quite tricky. It's kind of you turn 9 Rint is kind of on an awkward camber, and then turn 10 it's quite narrow. You're hopping across that curb. If you don't get that quite right, it can really unsettle the car. And as you said, there's that curb, the yellow curbing on the inside. You get that wrong, and you honestly might get airborne. So it was really nicely done. Ken just saying he missed it because of an ad. You need to scroll that back. That was a really tidy move. Just looking back here at Spencer, we were catching up with these guys a little bit before. We did see Winton unfortunately bowing out with some form of issue. I haven't had any word on that just yet, but not everyone comes into the chat to tell us what went wrong. But Spencer, though, not catching up to the back of Miller so much. It's about 7/10 of the time being. McKellar, though, sticking with the back of Spencer, but carrying that penalty, so it's not going to mean too much for the time being. Just looking a little bit further ahead, Cricky doing well, and I'm crossing my fingers and touching wood here. Currently leading the Pro-Am charge and in the top 10 comfortably, so it's a good race thus far for Cricky. We haven't seen too much of it, which is usually a good thing. It means it's been a nice, quiet, and stable race.
Yeah, nice solid race for him in the Nissan. You know, I always have a lot of respect for the guys and girls. I don't know if there's many girls racing. I hope they are. You know, we want to invite everyone to OOR. People that race the Nissans and so on, because I tried that car and I couldn't drive it. I don't know how people do it. And then to see people like Lucas Keys doing the times that he does in that car, it's quite impressive.
I think it's a really good car. It's so quick. It's quite unforgiving on the pedal inputs, but the thing is that it's unforgiving is not even the right word. It just tells you when it doesn't like what you're doing, but it won't kill you for it, unlike some of the other cars. So you can get away with stuff here and there, but I think it's good because it does teach them some better habits. Cameron trying to curse Cookie from the YouTube chat, and I wish he wouldn't, mate. He's having that was a lot of curves. He just cut away.
Yeah, so you're watching the young Ibrahim Bank here, and Slade. Why is he down so low? Did he get a penalty or crash?
Oh, he got another penalty. That's a little bit tough going for Slady. It's been one to forget. Yeah, he does have 15 seconds to his name again, so a little bit rough. Bank currently, I don't know, are we counting George as an M? No, wait, did George really sign up as an M? I'm going to give him, I'm going to be sledging him after this, if that's true.
Nice little battle here. Price Davies, Bank and Slade trying to make his way through the Pro-Am and Am driver. Young Ibrahim is a very, very aggressive driver, so he's not going to give that position up quickly. And in fact, he's actually trying to get a position. Oh no! I'd really want to see that again if we can. I'd really want to see what happened. 3 car wide into that corner is never a good idea.
I don't know. That was interesting because I feel like Slady had gotten that done pretty okay, but they managed to come together, and you know, it was a bit of a pit maneuver. We did see that happen to Slade earlier at that exact corner, pretty much the same thing, but I'm not entirely sure if that one was his fault, but if we get eyes on, we might see.
Yeah, I think Price Davies got a bit sandwiched there between the Porsche and the Aston and probably didn't have anywhere to go, which kind of caused that collision. But yeah, it'd be good to see it again if we can. That was there's a lot happening. Yeah, there we go. Price Davies followed by Ibrahim Bank. Ibrahim trying to probably get the move down the brakes. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's defending deep there. Ibrahim trying to find, sends him to the outside. Slade follows him, trying to take the race line. Ibrahim hangs it on the outside, Slade on the inside. Oh, yeah, that was just unfortunate because Price Davies, he was just trying to avoid Ibrahim and probably didn't realize Slade was there on the inside, and they came together.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there. Just wasn't looking out for Slade coming up the inside really hot. I think he was very focused on what Bank was doing, so unfortunate for Slade. I don't think that one's on him, but it's not helping. It's been a little bit of a rough race for Phil Slade, to say the least.
Yeah, it's one of those races you just need to write off, you know. It's yeah, not a lot you can do. I mean, it reminds me of the race I had in Misano last year where did a track limits, which was a drive-through, and then trying to do the drive-through, I think got to stop go 30 on the same lap. So you just write it off and kind of, move on.
Yeah, it's a bit rough when it's the first race of the year and first race of the season. You know, you want it to be a good one, but unfortunately it's not always the way it goes. John Stockton copping a 10-second penalty for a collision on lap 35. We might get eyes on that one, we might not. We are coming very, very close to the end of the race here. 3 minutes to go. It's going to be 2 more laps. Looking at where Lee is. Lee in commanding lead right now. Vedega, they're holding strong in that P2. He's put 3.5 seconds between himself and Stephen Tai. Brian Kong, nothing doing down there in P4, but a good race nonetheless. Raupi just holding firm, rounding out that top 5. Mr. Smooth, Benny Benton in P6. Yao, King, Miller, and Spenceley round out that top 10. We are looking on board with Miller. Spenceley, though, actually has caught up to Miller a bit here, so we'll see if Spenceley can make something happen. But for the time being, McKellar also in tow, but yeah, for the time being, Miller just holding on.
Yeah, and McKellar, you know, he can see P10 in front of them, and it's always a finishing P10 in sprints. That's something that, you know, you should aim for particularly as a Pro-Am driver. It's quite a good achievement. So McKellar probably, hopefully, trying to get one up on Spenceley, but Spenceley is a very experienced driver, so let's see what happens here.
Yeah, definitely. I think P10 with 30 car grid, it's a really solid effort, particularly as a Pro-Am. Or, sorry, within the top 10. I did just see we didn't get the race notification, but Slady did get 10 seconds, I think, for that incident. So called that one kind of wrong. Stewart's not agreeing with us. I think maybe if we saw the over the wing angle, we might have seen Slady was, or in the cockpit angle. Potentially the steering inputs would tell us the truth, but for now the steward's deeming that was his fault. We are looking here with the Stockton incident, so we're heading up the hill into T1, and it's pretty late on the brakes, and there's a bit of a shunt into the back of Marsh. Unfortunately, you do see Kong just shoot through. Stockton does redress that, does let Marsh go by, but yeah. And sorry, there is that race control. 10-second penalty for Phil Slade. That is confirmed. Ben Curtis, our lovely race director and steward, just confirming that was for, he says turn 2. I think he's not aware that that bend counts as turn 2, potentially.
Yeah, that caught me out as well. That bend between 1 and 3 is a bend, which I never thought it was. Seriously,
it's worse than the Kailami one, I think, personally. Like,
yeah, you're probably right. I feel like this is like FI has gone to them. You must have a minimum of 10 corners. They're like, well, we're just going to make one up in the middle of a straight.
Yeah, it's like 10's a nice round number. So, but speaking of round numbers, it's a nice P1 here for Lee, as he's going to be finishing up on going to finish this race on this lap. They've been in control, I think. Got by Stephen Tai early on and never let go. Tidy pit stop, nothing to complain about here. Throws it into the last corner, takes it nice and conservative, doesn't bother throwing it over the curb. And that is going to be a win for Aaron Lee in our season opener here for Split Yellow. Do you see Vedega coming across the line? A really nice effort to get into P2, taking that away from Stephen Tai in the Audi for P3. Brian Kong leading this little gaggle of cars here. That's P4. Pretty nicely done to the gaggle of Pro-Am cars, and that's a little bit spicy from that Lexus. Raupi just having to dodge car pulling up. That is P5 for Raupi, P6 for Vintana. Where's the Yao, our first of our silver finishes, P7. It's a nice race for him. Just jumping back a little bit, Ryan King in the 46 BMW is going to be P2 for your silver class and P8 overall. Pretty nice race from him too, I must say. Miller holds on, a very spicy race for him, holds on from the charge of Spenceley. It's going to be P3 in silver, P9 overall. Spenceley, P1 for your Pro-Am Cup. McKellar, it's just going to hold on potentially from Crick, actually. Hey, did something happen to Crick? Wasn't he leading Pro-Am? What happened to Cricky? Did we curse him? Oh, and there was a collision back there. That's not great. Oh, Cricky, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, great result there by Joe Spenceley. Just kept his nose clean and finished P10. Just shows you the virtue of patience and yeah, consistency. But overall, I think really good racing by everyone. Few incidents kind of makes it really interesting, kind of throws in some interesting events and incidents that we can talk about. But yeah, overall, pretty good first round, I'd say.
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit of rust there showing through early on, but it got a bit cleaner as it goes. It can be a pretty spicy track. We'll just run through those results again quickly for you. So overall, it's Lee, Vediga, Tai, Kong, and Raupi. For our silver class, it's going to be Wesley Yao, Ryan King, and Jack Miller. There you go. Jack Miller doing a good job to hold on through that very spicy race that he had. Our Pro-Am Cup is going to be Spenceley. McKellar does just enough. It's 100th of a second over Cricky. Didn't see what happened to Crick, unfortunately not getting that Pro-Am win. Takes P3 in your Pro-Am Cup. And for your AMs, it's going to be allegedly Sicanius, but I would say it's Bank, Paul Cranich, and Ben Simpson, P123. And there we have it. His first race of the season. It was a pretty good one. Saw some great stuff. I really loved that move. I'd be nominating that for Overtake of the Week from Vediga on Stephen Tai. Any driver of the day for you, Roy?
For me, I think Vediga, it's that move that he made, you know, move of the race and so far move of the season. So we'll see if anyone can top that.
Move of the season. I think it's a little bit early, just a little bit early to be calling move of the season, but it was a lovely piece of work.
Yeah, it was a joke, you know. It's one race. That's the season so far, but yeah.
Oh, okay, fair. All right. Well, we are going to throw it over to a break briefly. Poor Glenn has to, take apart his computer, put it back together, get iRacing up and running, get the stream going. So I'm not sure exactly how long it's going to be. Looking at the clock, I would imagine it's going to be running at about 9 o'clock. So in about 7 minutes, we're going to be handing it over to Sean Muller and Zach Jensen. Just be patient with us. Obviously, new series, new overlays, new tech. There could be a little bit of, issues here and there, but I'm sure it'll be a good time nonetheless. I have been Blake Griffiths, joined in the booth by Roy Ankan. And thank you very much to Glenn and all of our volunteers that make this happen. Please have a good night, everyone.
They can join the likes of Christopher Haase and that of Simon Riker as to be the only two teams of drivers to have netted more.
and it's exciting. And of course, joining me in the box is the one and only Zach Jensen. How are you, Zach?
Oh, doing well. How about yourself, Mama?
Oh, I'm very excited. We've got a brand new sim to commentate. Actually, the oldest sim going around, really, the old iRenting. So, looking at one of those sims. Here's one of those sims, isn't it? It's sort of very much a lot of people I've spoke to, they either love it or they just don't get along with it. I don't get along with it myself. It's just not my thing, but it's it's very popular. I know that.
Absolutely. It's definitely a sort of definitely a sort of price point is definitely a turn off for a lot of people, but I can understand why people enjoy the racing.
Yeah, very much so. It's quite popular. There's a lot of what's the word? There's a lot of different sort of cars you can drive. There's a lot of different series and tracks you like. So if you do have a bottomless bank account, it is a very good sim to jump on. Do apologise also if you are seeing a bit of a laggy sort of stream. Glenn is got the hamsters working overtime at the moment, so there will be maybe a bit of rust there in round one, but you do have myself and Zach, who are probably the two king of the shit talkers, so we can definitely fill in. So it is a 45-minute race this evening. I believe a 15-minute quali session as well. We do see that they're actually in quali at the moment. So they are running around. We've got a bit of disappearing car action, which is standard iRacing things, I believe. And we've got that.
Yes,
Oh.
the hamsters are catching fire as we speak.
Yep. So the hamsters have had a big off-season, obviously on the tins, and they've got to work that out. But as you can see, the grid though, packed full of big names. We've got names like Clark, McLeod, Chris Taylor's in there, Johnny Hislop, Fleming, Sam Ice Holmes. Good to see Jones in there. He's been a massive help behind the scenes as well with this series. We've got Sexy Saxon Hayes there. We've got MotoGP rider Jack Miller. Babby's in there. Hobbsy. Good to see Hobbsy having a run. Chad Petherbridge. Good to see Chad rolling around. Jay Conboy from Austria. That's
I was
interesting.
going to say a small, little-known Austrian racer named Jamie Conboy.
Yep. He must have had his VPN on that day when he signed up. Purcell, which is great to see Purcell there. We've got PJ and Jaden Rondinella as well. So quite a few names. We know them all. So looking forward to seeing how this plays out. So 45-minute race around Bathurst. Now, there is quite a few little caveats with this series as well. We'll go. I've got a big, long list that Mr. Holmes sent me as well. So I won't go through it all, but we do have a couple of little things. We do have a car and drivers, teams and drivers championship as well, which is really cool. So I do love myself a bit of teams championship. And it'll be really good to see later in the season if a bit of team sort of strategy comes into play as well. Weather is basically randomised based on the real world date and season of the event. So, for example, Bathurst is in May, so we're going to get a bit of cooler temps, which is nice. Who doesn't love Bathurst when the track is nice and cool? And then there are some other things as well, but as I said, we will go over that. Once again, big apologies. You might see some overlays coming up and things like that at the moment. As I was saying, we will work around this. But other than that, I'm pretty keen for this one. It's a bit of an unknown. That's why I'm sort of excited as well. You know, I like commentating on new sims. You know, they all have their foibles and little things that, you know, make them stand out, also make them different. So, yeah, pretty unreal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As we see the times starting to come in, obviously the difference with iRacing is it may take 2-3 laps to get the tyres up to temp before they start putting in their real times, but we do have Gorowski with a 2:03.1 to kick things off. 4 tenths ahead of Taylor.
That's a very good lap there from Gorowski in the Aston, and then Taylor there in the Audi as well. So with the cars as well, I was sort of talking to a couple of the people that own Kovacs and that iRacers, and they say the fuel efficiency is a real big, there's some real disparity. So the Porsche and BMW, for example, really good on the fuel. Of course, the Porsche it's what it does. But then the ones that do like a bit of a drink is the Lamborghini, the Audi, and the Ford. So again, something to keep an eye on, especially with strategy and that come into play, because the tanks are actually capped at 50%. So you can only fill them up to 50%. So and with the pit stops as well, do you take tyres? Do you not take tyres? In the shorter races, the general consensus is tyres won't be taking. But if you are in that position where you've got a bit of a gap and, you know, you want to get yourself some fresh rubber, I do know iRacing does prefer tyres to be nice and fresh. The cars aren't as nice on the worn stuff. So, again, it'll be something to keep an eye on. Of course, we're all learning. Race directors are learning. Stewards are learning. Commentators are learning. So I'm sure that we'll iron out all the bugs and we will have a lot of fun. As I said, very much looking forward to this. And to start off at Bathurst, I mean, really, it's just the way it has to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, the V10s and the big American V8 being the least fuel efficient. Who'd have thought?
I know, crazy, I know.
As we see
oof.
the next couple laps have come in, and Holmes with a 2:01.7 has just cleared the timetable.
It is funny that the organiser of the series is top of the timesheets. Now, I don't want to go early with controversy, and because I'm a big Giles fan, he does run the 24, which puts him in straight into legend status. He's a lovely guy as well. Purcell in second position there with a 2:02 at the 3:41, as Chrissy Taylor now pops in with a 2:01.875 in the Audi. So the Audis are dominating up front at the moment. Who would have thought the car that actually doesn't race really anywhere is top of the timesheets? So we've got currently a few little technical issues, but we will work through that. We can do a bit of radio style commentary. We'll be right. So coming up now towards about halfway left in the qualifying session.
Yeah, there is some minor technical difficulties, but Glenn's trying his hardest to get this sorted out.
Mate. We don't want to oversell it. All right, so you've got to rent the cars to see them. Very good there in YouTube chat.
Very, very good.
Chat is on fire early. We love to see it. Well, we actually
That is in progress.
Yep, we actually had to pay to actually talk to you guys. So, I mean, iRacing, they don't miss anyone. They really don't. Of course, we do joke around about it, but it is still clearly the most popular sim racing title around the world. There is a reason it's been around for so long. Its online system is, look, nothing's really come close to it. There are, ACC tried. LMU is trying at the moment, but their servers are about as useful as a hatful of arseholes. So that's the thing with sims. We all enjoy sim racing. We all love it, but each sim does have its foibles. And, oh, here we go. We've got a little bit more car action now. That's exciting. We don't want to rush these things.
I was going to say, we're slowly getting there, but I do know that iRacing is sort of definitely one of the more computer-friendly, I guess you could say. However, as you said, the foibles of that is you look like you're running on Play-Doh 24/7.
Yep. So we've got a couple of people chat. So make sure you see chat along, keep us entertained as well. Why sort of Glenn does do what he does best and get all this organised. Looking at the beautiful gum trees there at Bathurst. Nice trees, aren't they? I find it always interesting as well with sim racing tiles, especially with the new one here, is the colour palette. Each sim just has a different colour palette, which is, you'd think they'd all sort of look the same and that, but everyone's idea of what, a sim should look like in terms of palette and how the colours pop off the screen is always something that, fascinates me. And how the road textures look as well, I always find very interesting.
Absolutely. And you can sort of see it through I guess you could call them the big three. The age of the sim itself definitely leans into that colour scheming.
Well, I did hear as well that iRacing have been planning a big graphical update, but I mean, that's been on the cards for like 18 months. So I'm not too sure when that is coming along. The rain model, I do believe in iRacing, is quite simply outstanding. which is nice to hear. It is nice to hear that, you know, a track that when it does rain, that you can actually, the wet line or the go-kart line, as Mark Scape always says, actually a viable option, which I find really interesting and something definitely to keep an eye on. We'll just quickly over the time too. So Holmes is leading the way with a 2:01.647.
There's also the thing where ACC is a lot more. You're able to be a lot more aggressive under like brakes and all that jazz.
Yeah, it's another thing I've heard as well. It's the braking's very different in iRacing. It's probably the one reason I don't really drive it. It's just I can't get used to it. And also the tyre model just feels weird to me. But again, it's one of those things. That's why we love sim racing, because it's different horses for different courses.
Indeed.
I think that's the same. I don't know. We'll go with that.
Close enough, I guess.
So
We are still having these issues as Glennie is trying to get it going.
So looking across at the manufacturers, we've got an Audi, an Aston. Oh no, we've got two Audis up the top now. As Chris Taylor now goes with a 2:01.5 straight to the top of the timesheets. Nice job there from Chris Taylor. Then Holmes in second. So Audi's leading the way from an Aston, a Porsche, two Mercedes, another Porsche, a big Chev, and Aston and Porsche are your 10 at the moment. It's good to see some familiar names in some familiar cars as well. Kind of sort of makes things a little bit easier for myself. Sort of get used to drivers driving certain manufacturers. I'll tell you what, there's a couple of weird ones though. Hobbs and a Porsche. Oh, there's something I thought I'd never see.
Yeah, Cookie in a Chevy instead of his Honda.
Yeah, that's another one I thought I'd never see. Sexy Saxon in a Ford when there's an Audi available. What is going on there? Oh, that needs to be looked into. What is going on there, Mr. Hayes? I mean, really?
Even down the bottom, Mr. Clopper in a BMW instead of a Porsche.
Oh, I'm getting some...
Well,
It's a bit... Oh, here we go. Oh, that's a car that's on track and it isn't disappearing. Glenn has done it. What a man. Buy the man a beer or a scotch, ladies and gentlemen. He has worked it out. He's given his old PC the biggest kick up the arse I reckon we've ever seen. And it's fired into life. And we're looking here at McAdam on the screen at the moment, and he's doing a bit of a clutch lap here. So just working out a little few of these timing sectors as well, and sort of how we read the sectors and everything like that. Again, I believe that's purple sector 1, is that right? And then a green sector 2?
no, I believe iRacing does things a little differently.
Of course it does.
I believe they do them in... I think they do them in time sectors.
Oh, right.
So I believe there's, what, 1, 2, 3... There's about 6 sectors.
Ah, okay, interesting.
So the purple for the first half a lap, and then he's bringing down the S's. As McAdam comes around the final corner and sets himself a 2:02.02.
Good lap there. Nice lap there from McAdam in the big AMG Merc. So we've got word through that we are getting there slowly. You don't rush perfection. As they say, perfection is a lot of little things done right. So as qualifying is about to tick over, it is Taylor leading the way from Holmes, Purcell, Johnson, McAdam, who we just saw set that lap then, Babby, Smith, Hislop, Cook and Hignett. Oh, Benjamin Hignett there in the top 10. So nice job there from Ben. Good to see him out on track and actually get running some laps. Does a lot of work as well on the Thursday nights. Of course, Thursday night coming up tomorrow night will be the LMU round 1 from the French car park. I myself will be jumping in and have a bit of a drive. Looking forward to that. Not the track, but definitely looking forward to having a go. And of course, the one and only Split Red to finish out the racing action here at OOR. And of course, a big thank you does go to Thermaltake for their continued support of OOR. They do some great stuff down here at Thermaltake, and there's some really great prizes on offer this season as well. I did hear rumours of a $50 gift card. So hopefully I'll be getting myself one of those, and I might buy myself a fan.
Pretty soon.
Each week?
Was, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Each week for everyone who races.
Now, can you win? There we go. Sign up, get a $50 gift card there.
No, everyone who races goes in the chance to win a $50 card every week.
Now, can you win?
Right.
Now, can you win every week? So, just for example, could I win this week and then next week and the week after? Just, you know, back them up.
If you race all 3 weeks, there is a technical probability that you can win them.
Okay.
Good luck, have fun.
No, I haven't. I did an IOU, and obviously iRacing don't accept IOUs, which I find pretty rude. That's okay. It's
Teething problems.
First-
It's fine.
exactly. You know, we'll be fine. As they are rolling around now, and about to get underway for a 45-minute race. It is going to be Taylor from pole, then Holmes, Purcell, Johnson, McAdam, Babby, Smith, Hislop, and Cook and Hignett are your 10, with Growski and Hobbs just outside the 10 net. And we are about to get underway as they are about to go racing. And they are racing now as they head off down towards Hell Corner. And we're just going to assume everyone got through cleanly. Yep, look at that. Perfect. No crashes whatsoever. No safety car needed.
No,
Excellent.
actually, it has come through quite clean.
There you go. Perfect. See? This is the way to do it. We can just... Yeah. No, we don't need to see the cars, you see, because we can just assume everyone's racing super clean. There's no incidents. So Holmes leading away from Taylor. Johnson. Doesn't look like there's been many changes in position around there. Hignett up to 8th position, actually. So Hignett's made a bit of a move. Just having a look here. Looks like Busker's had a bit of a moment there. He's dropping down the order. So is Miller and Clark as well. So couple of little moments there in lap 1, which is to be expected at Bathurst.
Yeah, Purcell has dropped down a few off the start, back in P6, as the boys make their way down the Dipper and the S's for the first time.
And
Things seeming clean.
such a tricky part of the circuit, this, especially on lap 1. It's very easy just to overbrake a little bit or just turn in that little bit too early and before you know it, you're meeting Mr. Barrier.
Especially on cold tyres. Like these take a few laps to get up to temperature, so...
Yeah, well, I was watching actually a fascinating stream the other day about the different tyre models and different sims, and they were saying that, you know, LMU's based off the Goodyear tyre, and they reckon iRacing is based more off the Pirelli tyre, because, as you know, in real life, different tyre manufacturers do have different grip levels, slip angles, things like that. So be interesting, especially a lot of the guys that have come from ACC land and jumping across to iRacing for sort of that first time will definitely be a thing that they will have to get used to. As Purcell, it looks like he's had a huge moment there, so he's dropped down to 16th now. So he's had a bit of an issue there. but it is Holmes still leading the way. Oh, look who's up in the third. Patrick Johnson, standard operating procedure there for PJ. This is what he does in the 77777, doing very nicely. McAdam up there in 4th place as well. Bit of a solid operator, McAdam. Just goes about his business quietly, just keeps his head down and races beautifully. But it is Holmes in the 24 out. It's great to see a 24 up the front, doing what he does best.
Today we were saying it's the Jam Cup, and he's already pulled 2 seconds in a lap and a half.
Yeah. Now, as I said, we don't want to get controversial, but just saying. But it is, what is also really good to see is 28 cars on the grid, which is fantastic. Really good to see that everyone's jumped on board and just, really embraced the series, which is awesome to see. And it's OOR, there's the old saying, got to evolve. And evolution is part and parcel of sim racing. So sims change and we've had to evolve with it. And it's great to see 3 different titles now in OOR on Wednesday and Thursday. So really awesome to see that as well. And of course, the Rookie Series did kick off on last night as well, which was great. I heard it was a bit of an interesting one. And of course, the Pensioners Cup was on Monday as well. And they all rolled around. Oh, it looks like a car off there. One of the blue and red Audis. It looked like an alley for me. I think that was Taylor that went off there a little bit. And Patrick Johnson did get the position there.
Yes, it does appear as such. And there is also the 4th sim from next week. The alternate Wednesday of Assetto Corsa Evo.
Yes, so AC Evo as well. That's super exciting. Tell you what, I was talking to a couple of people in console land, and they were saying they're actually a little bit, because they're all big Gran Turismo heads, and they were saying they're a little bit nervous about AC Evo, especially if it does come to console. It is being touted as the Gran Turismo killer, so good to see a bit of competition across different platforms as well. So just waiting for the time and screen update. So it is Holmes still leading the way, doing a nice job. 4.3 to the good and doing it quite comfortably at the moment. And Johnson, Taylor, McAdam, Babby, Smith, Benjamin Hignett, Johnny Hislop, Cook and Grokowski? How are we going to... Grokowski?
Gorowski.
Wazowski. Monsters Inc. There we go. Done. Easy.
Easy done.
Yeah. And then Hobbs and Hayes in 11th and 12th. Then McLeod and that Austrian driver, Jamie Conboy, they're in 14th position.
Yeah, at the front, Holmes has just checked out for the day.
He's put the feet up. Oh, this is cruise control now for Holmes. I mean, this is sort of just bring it up. Wow, he has checked out. Wow,
However,
now,
as he did say, the Audi is one of the least efficient cars on its fuel, so he may have to come in for a longer stop to get himself to the end, if he needs to.
So he's gone for the aggressive strap, which I like. Just send it, as they say. Just drive it as hard as you can. And, of course, Patrick Johnson in the Porsche will be fuel saving like a madman. I have no doubt about that. And you could just double the lap times as well. I mean, Holmes is doing 2025s, and Taylor and McAdam sort of in that threes and sort of mid threes margin. So when you're nearly second quicker, that sort of says to me that Holmes is absolutely doesn't give a crap about fuel.
I believe that's his fastest lap that they've done. So he may not have done that last lap, but he has considerably gone faster every lap than others at the moment. I was going to say, if you try restarting iRacing, that might fix it. Yeah, But
Yeah.
like, it's better an idea than nothing. So
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pop off air for a moment, just while sort of Glenn gives iRacing the bit of a kick in the teeth, and we will be back, of course, but bear with us as we do iron out the bugs. But just a quick race recap. It is Holmes leading the way from Johnson, Taylor, McAdam, Babby, Smith, Ignat, Hislop, Cook and Growski are your 10 at the moment, with Hobbs and Hayes just sitting outside. video style, bit of fun.
That was good fun. It is a shame, obviously, the hamsters have gone on strike, but if I will say we might as well shill some of the drivers. There will be some of them who are streaming, so if you want to keep watching, we do have a streams channel. There's
Yep,
a few
so
of them that have posted up in there.
JC is streaming on Twitch and Johns is streaming on Kick. So if you do want to pop along, support them as well. They would very much appreciate it. But enjoy the rest of the evening, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow evening.
Goodbye, everyone.
No, again,
No, you're right.
don't apologise. Technology.
What graphics card? do you have? But it's, and it, I was gonna say, but it's max usage. That's weird.
It is strange, yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming you're not going to be that kind of person. When was the last time you restarted your PC? Okay. Was it a shutdown or a restart? Okay. Yeah, because I know... Yeah, you know, I know a few people who've like left it on for a month and be like, "What? The PC's acting like shit." It was the last time you restarted it.
Yeah, I'm out of idea. I'm probably the yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, well, like I'm pretty new GPU. I would assume you'd have a fairly modern CPU as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm a turn PC on, turn rig on, icon. That's me. Certainly will. All right, gentlemen. We will be back next week and